Yeah, I think at the beginning of the program, I was feeling like I was missing something, but I definitely was not feeling as if I was in some sort of health crisis or obese or anything like that. It was just more, I just knew that there was a level that I wanted to get to that I currently at that moment was not at. And I didn't really know what that looked like. I just knew that I wasn't quite happy with how I felt. I felt like I could have more energy. I felt like I could look in the mirror and be a little bit more proud of what was reflecting back. But I certainly, relative to, 43-year-old man with four kids and a couple of jobs, I was doing okay. But I think that was the big thing is I just had this strong urge in me that I didn't want to be average. I didn't want to be just good enough in terms of my health, mental health, and physical health. And so I think that was it. And I hope that makes sense because, I just kind of want to send the message of like, I wasn't in a bad place. I just was ready to level up and do something more. That when I say average, yeah, you're right. I don't mean in comparison to other people necessarily my age. I think what I mean is if I know there's more in me, then I feel like I need to attack that and get after that. So being a mediocre version of me, knowing that there's more in there with a little bit of intentionality and behavior change and sort of processes, I started to feel like I started to feel a little bit unfulfilled in that version of me. Even though it wasn't terrible, I just knew that there was more to give. And I I had for a long time maybe leaned on the excuse of, having a toddler in the house, three other boys, two jobs, busy schedule. There's always reasons to not level up. And I kind of got tired of leaning on those reasons and was like, let's just do this. So I think that's maybe where I was at pre-program. I think I think when you have children and jobs, it all comes down to time. And if you're not intentional with your time, time runs out pretty quickly. And so I really think there there really wasn't other things getting in my way outside of the way that I was using time. And I think that I had maybe sort of convinced myself that I was using all my time as best I could. But the truth is, there's always more time if you create processes around it and be more efficient. And so I think it really all came down to time, and I was quite happy to lean on the fact that time wasn't in abundance to as an excuse to not push myself to the next level of mental and physical health. Well, I've been a little bit of a yo-yo guy in terms of my weight. There's been times where I've been lean. There's been times where I've been a lot bigger than I would have liked. And, I've tried different sort of a lot of different fitness programs. Obviously at one point I was a professional footballer back in the day, and you kind of get a natural fitness through that, and then all of a sudden your environment changes and life catches up, and you're like, "Oh, how did I get to this point?" And I've tried all the fads, all the dieting fads, and there's always, and I think that's something I've struggled with. I feel like the health industry is overwhelming with information, and when you try to navigate it on your own, it can actually just end up confusing. And so I've tried different fitness programs and different dieting sort of regimens with varying degrees of success, and I've went up and down, and my fitness has also been variable. But the biggest piece is clearly with that variability, there's not sustainability. And I think that was really what I was looking for here was something that wasn't a fad, something that wasn't, okay, let's do this for 12 weeks and then you're finished. And I think that was the big piece for me is trying to do something that's actually sustainable, that's rooted in science and rooted in sort of metrics towards success, but then that actually sticks beyond the program. That's been the biggest piece for me, I think. But sitting here right now, I really do feel very strongly that this will be sustainable because the changes that I made were incremental. It was small changes and realistic changes that can be repeated over time. And there was not this wholesale change of lifestyle or change of habits. It was incremental small adjustments and then living that for a couple of weeks, examining that for a couple of weeks. Where am I still deficient? Where is the obstacles? And then the beautiful thing about the program that you run, Matt, is it's not a one size fits all. What we were doing, we were identifying obstacles specific to me or deficiencies that were specific to me relative to my life, which allowed us, I feel, to be very intentional in how we targeted those obstacles and found a way around them. And your format of the process goals was really helpful to me because the changes were felt easy in the moment, and then before I knew it, I had almost integrated new habits into my life. So the process goals was good, and I was also a lot more your guidance towards compassion, self-compassion was helpful too, where if something wasn't quite working, it wasn't beat yourself up time or feel guilty time. It was, okay, well, let's find a different way around that. Let's find a different way of navigating that suits your life or that's customized, tailored to what's going on in the specific circumstances of my life. And so that was amazingly helpful. The most impactful element of the program for me, and often I find impact in the things that I don't anticipate. And so I knew I was signing up to lose, 12 to 14 pounds. And that did happen, which I'm really happy about. But what was most impactful was how much I learned about myself. And I hadn't anticipated that. I learned that I was much more stressed, for example, than I had allowed myself to believe. I learned that my habits were maybe not as good as I had allowed myself to believe, and my use of time was not as strong as I had. And so that was really impactful. And then through the journey, I really developed a new sense of mindfulness and gratitude. And I would never have thought that that would have been part of a weight loss program. And so that's been the most impactful for me. Just being more aware of when I am showing up as my most authentic self and recognizing when I'm not, and how to create space and pause and help myself to get there. So um, it might sound crazy to somebody that's not gone through the program, but yes, I signed up to lose weight, but I think from an impact perspective, it's allowed me to become a better and more present husband and father. And for me, there's nothing more important than that.
Results did you get?
Yeah, in terms of the actual results, and I think that is the amazing part about the program, is that by the time I got to the end of the program, the metrics in terms of the weight loss felt very secondary, but they are still good. I mean, I started at 198.6 or point 0.8 or something like that pounds, and then as of this morning, I was down to, I think it was 184.6, so lost about 14 pounds. And I didn't do a great job of, taking my measurements, but what I will say is my clothes are fitting better. I look in the mirror and I know I look better. My wife is commenting like, "Wow, you look like a different person." And so in terms of the numbers, they've all decreased. Now, here's another couple of things. One that I haven't told you yet, actually, Matt. Um, I had an ultrasound yesterday. I had a fatty liver before the program. Um, and I had the ultrasound yesterday, and everything's it's fine, absolutely normal. Part of that is probably I've given up drinking completely, which again, that's something that I had thought about doing. Drinking alcohol, obviously, not just hydrating generally. Drinking alcohol, which is something I thought about doing, but being part of the program and allowing my values to be so clear made that decision easy. And then sticking to it's actually been and so much easier than I would ever have imagined. So, in terms of results, the 14 pounds down, look 10 times better. A lot of people have commented that I look healthier, my skin looks better, my clothes fit better. I feel I like to think I'm not too vain of a person, but it's nice to put stuff on and be like, I look good today. And that then adds to your overall sort of confidence and sense of self. And so, yeah, lots of in terms of results, lots of positive ones. And I actually even sitting here feel like I might have forgotten a couple, but yeah, it's good. I'm over the moon. So in terms of body fat too, I was 19% plus body fat. This morning I was 13, 13 flat. And then the most exciting thing about these results is I've done this before where I've gotten to a certain point and achieved a certain goal and then just sort of went right into complacency and let things slide. And with these current results, I'm just excited to keep going because now I've seen how possible it is. That it's not like, okay, I did it, I've arrived. I'm actually at the point where I'm definitely going to keep going because I've got a little bit more I'd like to do. And now that I've seen how realistic and possible that is, um, that's just exciting rather than like daunting. So I'm going to keep going. I'm excited about that too. The biggest hurdle in the program, I will say that I didn't find anything made of a major significant challenge. I, and that's not to say, oh, it was just easy. It just felt to me that every challenge had a solution in there, and that's where you done a really good job of just meeting me where I'm at, examining the circumstances as they were, and just helping me to say, well, if this is the obstacle, what about this? Let's try this for this week. And it felt very sort of realistic and doable. And it also felt without pressure, like enough grace to say, I tried it, it didn't work. I need to try and look at something else. And so nothing was ever a huge challenge. I think just coming to you and being vulnerable and being willing to say, this is the part that's tough right now, and then allowing us to go on the journey of navigating that. Um, I would say to someone that's thinking about working with you, one, I would say just sign up today, just do it. I would say if you're serious about it, just do it. If you're sort of pretending that you want to, it might maybe won't be the program for you. I think this program is brilliant for people that want to level up, that have that are motivated, that are ready to be vulnerable and put a little bit of work in. And if you're willing to do those things, then you're going to go on an unexpected journey where you're going to if you apply the tools, you're going to lose weight, but you're also going to learn a heck of a lot about yourself. And I would hope that other clients would have the same experience of me, where you get to the end of 12 weeks and you're almost the number on the weight is almost secondary, and you're so excited about the other elements of your life that you've managed to find balance in, or nurture, or relationships that you've managed to enhance. Um, so yeah, I would say if you're thinking about it, take the step into the unknown, and bet on yourself and go for it. I'm quite proud of myself between, I feel comfortable saying that to you. I'm quite proud of myself because not every week was a knock it out the park week. And there was a couple moments where I was like, "Fucking hell, man, like, don't know if I'm gonna like see the change that I really want to see." Um, but even within that, going through Thanksgiving and Christmas and, Lachlan in hospital and flu in the whole house. Like there was a lot of things where you could easily have been derailed, but I just was like, no, that's okay. You have these moments and then you course correct and you get back on. And so, no, it's been when I mean the things that I'm saying there, mate, and to answer responding to your questions, it's not. I wouldn't, I wouldn't put myself out there and bullshit. You know what I mean? It's very genuine, sincere. So, and I really will, man. I think I'd like to keep pushing on. Oh, man.
Uh,
Yeah. And it's like not, it's an amazing feeling when those things become things that you want to do rather than a chore and you look forward to them. So yeah, man, it's been good, mate. So hopefully